Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to the first episode of That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. So this is a new donation reward series we are starting up this week. And when we go into the new schedule and everything, once that starts after we finish up with She-Ra no KKO Season 1, yeah, we'll continue on with this, but we'll also have Dofus along with it. But so let's talk about this. So this is a series that I've been recommended to watch a lot, even before it was chosen as a donation reward. I've heard a lot of great things about it, and let me talk about what I know. So I know very little about the actual plot, but I do know a couple things. I know it is an isekai anime, which is basically a transported to another world anime, something like Sword Art Online or Log Horizon as examples, or ReZero is another great example. And I know the general idea of it. I have been spoiled on the general idea, which isn't a big spoiler. That I'm not as upset about because it's like, oh, I know the basic synopsis of what the series is. Some dude dies and is reincarnated into the body of a slime monster in a fantasy world. That's all I know about it. A slime monster is typically used in a lot of high fantasy type stuff, and a lot of times they can have different properties such as the ability to shapeshift, the ability to absorb attacks, the ability to absorb objects into themselves to make them bigger or stronger. Sometimes their slime can be acidic and stuff like that. It just really depends on the story being told. So I don't know what kind of abilities or whatnot he'll have as a slime. But we'll just kind of have to see. Now, with a fantasy setting, with the kind of fantasy that would involve a slime, there's probably going to be a lot of magic, maybe some creatures or demons or something. Obviously, swords and all that kind of stuff, kingdoms. Now, I'll say right off the bat, I'm not the biggest isekai fan. I know there are definitely fans for that genre of anime. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I don't really like Sword Art Online that much. I don't hate Sword Art Online as much as some people, but I don't like it that much. I don't like Log Horizon. I don't like most isekai stuff I've seen. ReZero was a big exception to that though, just because of how well it does at subverting isekai tropes and messing with the formula quite a lot. But in general, I'm not a huge fan of the genre. Whenever a new anime season comes out, I usually don't watch the isekai ones. In fact, I usually purposefully skip them. Because the genre in and of itself just seems like it's mostly the same old at this point. All of these different shows are pretty much the same thing. They get boring. They're so generic and uninteresting. Which is why I'm a little worried about this and why I didn't initially check this out when it started airing. Because honestly, I'm afraid that it's going to be another generic isekai. And I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure, and I'm not just prejudging it necessarily. I'm just saying that I'm worried that it will be. I have heard great things about this. A lot of people say that it's a really great series, though, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. If you know me, you know that I don't necessarily agree with all of those kinds of opinions. That that my thoughts tend to differ on a lot of anime that are universally seen as great. Examples: I don't like Fooly Cooly. I don't like Code Geass. I think stuff like even Gurren Lagann is highly overrated. And I like shows that are almost universally hated, such as Akame ga Kill. I think Cowboy Bebop is overrated, though I will admit Cowboy Bebop is not bad. It's good. It's just very, very overrated. But yeah, so I judge shows on my experience with them, and I'm not going to, like, my thoughts are not always the same as everyone else's. and I'm not going to try to make them such. I'm not going to like try to fit in with the crowd, basically. My thoughts are my own, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys about it, even if that means I don't like something. So I'm just telling you right now, I am worried about this. But as with any series, I will only drop it if I really feel that I have no interest in continuing. If it basically, as I've said before, if it reaches to below the 10% line, if it passes that line, um, and it's not super easy to even do that. um, it would have to really be bad, or in a lot of isekais, say for isekai's sake, it would have to be really really fucking generic and uninteresting. Um, but yeah, it's just like we'll see, we'll see. We are only doing one episode today because I also want to record a bunch of She-Ra for tomorrow because we are trying to get that finished up along with OKKO and all that, because so we can start the new schedule. Um, so yeah, I'm trying to get to. I want to get to as much She-Ra as I can as well. But we are going to do an episode of this because we are getting to this now, and hopefully in the future, we'll continue to enjoy it. Hopefully, it'll end up being good. So yeah, we are also doing the sub. We are doing the subtitled version with the Japanese audio. Um, Not because I wasn't interested in the English dub. It's just I just decided we're gonna do the sub for this one. Um, we'll probably do English dub for other future anime and stuff. One example, when we get to doing Oban Star Racers again, that will still be in the dub. For example. Um, but yeah, for this series, we'll just do it in the sub. And again, hopefully it ends up far surpassing my expectations. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. Um, I will say that one thing I'm really hoping it doesn't do is I really hope it doesn't go into the typical isekai power fantasy stuff where the main character is just obnoxiously powerful and just even though he's a slime is just winning everything still. I also don't want to see harem shit. I'm not a fan of harem shit. It's like it can work, but it's very rare that it does, in my opinion. I don't like that kind of stuff, and it's super generic for isekai, so I really hope we don't see that. But either way, we should get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so this was the first episode of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and it was okay. I mean, I wouldn't say like I loved it or anything, or like it was extremely good or extremely funny. It had its moments for sure. Um, it, it's good enough to continue, like without doubt. But I definitely think it does need to step things up a bit. I did like the Tsundere Dragon. That was funny. Um, and there's a lot of questions this raises with what we got here. Why was that crazy guy running at them with the knife? Was he trying to attack the girl? And if so, why? As I said, I hope we get some resolution on that. I hope that that comes into play. Now, with the concept of summons and other worlders and stuff, uh, Satoru's friends could come into this world. The girl and the guy who erased the hard drive at the end. I don't know their names offhand. They could very easily come in to play still. I don't know if they will, but they could. Um, so yeah, I'm interested to see where that might go. Um, I don't know why they changed his voice when he was a slime. I mean, yes, he's in a different body and also different vocal cords and shit or whatnot. I if slimes have vocal cords. Um, but yeah, it's just like I just don't feel like it was altogether necessary. So we learned this episode gave us a lot about this world that he's been transferred into, though there's still some questions like why is there like this video game AI that's he's able to speak to? Like what the fuck is the deal with that? Um, but a lot of it seems very much like a video game. And very much like a video game kind of world, kind of statistics and stuff, just ideas and concepts. Um, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it isn't like super exciting or interesting or unique. Um, it's not like again, it's not a bad thing. It's not terrible or anything. It just it doesn't like really strike me as too fascinating right off the bat. Um, I mean, compare this to ReZero. If you remember in ReZero, Subaru, um, he entered this other world kind of just extremely randomly. He basically blinked into the world. He's in his own world. He's outside of that little shopping mart, kind of 7-Eleven like place. And he stands there and he blinks and he's basically in the other world. That one worked so well because it was just so sudden. This you get a lot of build up to it with the voice in it, the voice of this AI program. I'm just gonna call it that for now. This AI program in his head talking to him, giving him these skills and stuff. It really heavily builds up to it. Um, so it's not as much of a surprise. It's not as big of a sudden shift. So when he is reincarnated as a slime, it doesn't like take you by surprise. And I mean, granted, I don't think it's necessarily supposed to, because I mean, the title of the fucking show. So I don't think it's necessarily supposed to as much. But at the same time, it just doesn't have as much impact to me as like again, say ReZero does. Or even Sword Art Online, I feel just had that kind of thing better with them getting trapped in the game and everything. Because it's like up to that point, it's like okay, this is a game and everything, and then it's like oh, we can't log out. Fuck. So it's a lot different. It's a lot more exciting and interesting to me. Um, but this, yeah, reincarnated as a slime just it gave us too much build up to it, and it made it feel like it wasn't exciting or anything. It kind of took all of that away. Um, now the powers that he has as a slime, pain resistance, resistance to heat, to cold, to temperature fluctuation, to electricity, the ability to absorb and analyze stuff and all that. It's like, yeah, these are slime abilities for the most part. His abilities definitely mirror that of a slime in a lot of different media, a lot of different fantasy type books and games and yada yada yada. So yeah, definitely got that kind of stuff right. Um, and it just feels like right now it's not doing anything surprising. I mean, the most surprising thing was the dragon being a tsundere. That was funny as hell. But that was the most surprising thing. Everything else was just kind of like what might have expected it to be, really. It wasn't surprising. It wasn't unique or exciting. Granted, it was the first episode. I will give it that. It was the first episode, so that kind of stuff could come more into play later. Um, I don't know for sure. I guess we'll just kind of have to see. Um, there's a lot of questions that are raised, though. I mean, how important are his friends going to be to the story? Because we did check back in with his one friend erasing his computer by just dumping it in a bath. at the end. So that alone, I didn't think we would see. So I'm thinking that his friends might still come back into play, which means I'm thinking they might come to this other world, whether by summon or through just being an otherworlder. I guess however that ends up working. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that would take place. But all in all, this episode, again, it didn't do anything special, in my opinion. It wasn't anything exciting or unique or new or fresh. It was fun. It was interesting, but nothing special, like I said. We'll just have to see where it goes. We'll just have to see how the future episodes handle things and kind of go from there. Now, I will say that little bit we saw at the beginning of the ending, or the opening, or whatever that's actually supposed to be, and not the beginning, the end, almost makes me worry that this is going to kind of go in a harem direction, because we see a bunch of characters here. I'm looking at it right now. Granted, when I first saw it, I thought like all of them were girls, and that's not true. 3 of them appear to be girls. There also appears to be what I think might be a goblin, some kind of like Garurumon looking thing, dog with the horn and shit, giant wolf with the horn, not dog. Then there appears to be a couple guys in red and blue, and they both also appear to have horns for some reason. Some old guy, probably an old mentor-like figure, and then some dude who looks like an orc. I assume this is going to be our kind of main cast of heroes or something like that. Our party, if you will. Along with the slime, of course. So yeah, I don't know where that's going to go with all of them. It almost looks like the one in the middle, though, the little girl with the blue hair and everything. It looks like she's using magic, so maybe she's a mage. Also, the purple-haired girl with the big bust, she also looks like she has a horn. Does the other girl have horns too? Does everyone have fucking horns? Like, what the hell's going on with that? But yeah, I'm interested to see more, and we'll kind of just see how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't become a harem. Hopefully it doesn't fall into the trap of generic isekai shit. And hopefully it lives up to the hype that a lot of you and just people in general have been giving it. We will continue this next week and just go from there. So for the time being, yeah, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this first episode of That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. And thank you all so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,